I'm here with Nick and Tony, the Sicilian brothers. Just describing them that way, I'd squat somewhere else. And Patty. They've all been victimized by squatters and learned the hard way that our current legal system is not always the friend to the law-abiding citizens. Now, you eject a squatter and then get a call from a neighbor that said, you just might want to know your house is on fire. So they left you a parting gift.
Yeah.
And set the house on fire.
Yeah. Thankfully, that neighbor had known us. In the middle of the night, she called and said, your house is on fire.
Yeah.
There's smoke coming out of it.
Yeah. And we talked about this cash for keys concept. You guys are kind of being expeditious, and you've offered as much as $25,000 to get somebody out?
Yeah. The current one that we're in right now, we've offered her $25,000 and she's turned it down. She's still fighting us on it. She thinks that she is fully entitled to the entire property. So if you're offering her $25,000, in her mind, I'm entitled to the entire thing. So if you're gonna give me 25, I know I can get a lot more, right? Because there's a whole property here. So it's always it comes back down to the entitlement.
So you've gotten squatters out before, and you say they'll crawl under the house and come back up under the floorboards.
Oh yeah, yeah. We had one about 2 months ago. We went back for our final inspection pre-closing, similar to your situation, and they had went under the crawl space. It's a pier and beam house, so it was up off the ground. They went in the crawl space and came up through the floor and gutted the house of all the wiring just to get the little bit of copper out so they can get a couple $100. But it's $10,000 or $20,000 worth of damage to us.
I have to say, from a psychological standpoint, what I go through in my head is what your mindset would have to be to do this, to say, I'm going to go move into somebody's house and look them in the eye and tell them, it's mine now, get out. And then if they eventually get you out, to say, I'm just going to destroy the property. It's not enough that I've lived here for free for 18 months before I go victimize somebody else. I'm going to destroy the property.
You say what's going through their head, and I don't think much is going through their head other than just what's next. What's next? What can I do next? Right? What can I steal next? Where can I get my next fix?
We're going to add somebody to the conversation here after the break, a real estate broker who says the squatters' rights law are so backwards in California. Oh, how could that be? That crooks and con artists just need a toothbrush and the audacity to move right in. We'll talk to him next. Cozy Earth is here to transform your after-work hours, the time you unwind, recharge, and reconnect into the most comfortable part of your day. Their bamboo sheets are temperature regulating and moisture wicking, helping you sleep several degrees cooler. Try them risk-free with a 100-night sleep trial, even on the hottest nights. Plus, all bedding comes with a 10-year warranty. That's a decade of cool, cozy, quality sleep. Get ready for cozy days. Don't miss your chance to score Cozy Earth's biggest discount of the year. From July 11th to the 13th, head to CozyEarth.com and use code PHIL to get up to 45% off best-selling temperature-regulating sheets, apparel, and more. Don't forget, this deal ends on July 13th. For better sleep and a cooler summer, what's stopping you? Sleep cooler, lounge lighter, stay cozy at Cozy Earth.
This is what happens when someone moves into a property without any vested interest in the condition of the property. I wished I could say that this was uncommon. I wish I could say it's the first time I've ever been in a house this messy, but it's not.
Wow. Well, Barry, I guess the good thing is they left the washer and dryer.
They did. I don't think they used it very often.
No, it doesn't look like it. So how long were they in?
Before I came into the picture, they had been there about 9 months. Another property manager basically said, hey, we're done, we can't handle this. And so they called me in to take care of it.
How many of these folks are drug addicts, mentally ill, and how many of them are just straight up psychopaths?
Well, I think some of the psychopaths also do drugs. And so it gets to be a mixed bag. I think that Patty had it correct. There's a sense of entitlement that comes along. And I think you asked earlier about how they got into that. I know your background, you're kind of thinking, what makes them think that? I think it's decades of mind shifting that you've come in and said, this is your right, this is right. You don't have to work for this. You can get things given to you without having to work for them. You can, the government will give you things, and if you don't have something and you want it, it's because you're underprivileged and somebody's taking advantage of you because they have what you want, and that's your right. And so I think that it's a combination of all of those things. I definitely see drugs involved a lot. You almost are never going to have, in your case, those two squatters that they showed in the video, those were both drug users. I mean, you can see that pattern. They come in with.
She had just gotten kicked out of rehab that morning.
Yeah. So, I mean,
yeah,
you definitely have a large percentage of them that are drug users. And then you have the others, and probably more so in your case, that were basically weaponizing the system and using it to go after people that have what they want that they can't have. So it's like a lottery ticket for them. But they didn't have to buy the lottery ticket. They just broke in and took it.
Yeah, I think one of the most fundamental principles of psychology is you don't reward bad behavior. If you're at the grocery store with your child, 2-year-old, and they fall on the floor throwing a tantrum, you don't race to the candy aisle and get some candy and go over there and say, oh, here, baby, here's some candy. You would never do that. I mean, anybody that would, some village is missing their idiot. Everybody knows you would not do that.
Have you been to California?
Oh, I came from California.
Touche.
Yeah. Seriously, we know that at that level. Most parents know that about their children, but apparently we don't seem to keep our focus on that as a government or sometimes as a culture. But yet, when somebody does this, they break into a house and they start living there, then we do reward that.
The police are in handcuffs rather than the squatter.
Of course. Mm-hmm. And so the system is broken. We're rewarding bad behavior. As you said, we're shaping this behavior through entitlement. Those were able-bodied women on your front porch that could have been working, but they aren't. They could have been affording a place, but they aren't. How many squatters have you dealt with?
I've managed about 500 properties total. I probably have dealt with maybe 100 over the years. And I think earlier to your point, the government makes a bad parent.
Yeah.
The government is not a good parent. I believe there's a phrase that goes something like, the scariest words I ever heard are, I'm here from the government and I'm here to help.
Yeah.
And so the government just does a bad job parenting, and that's what's going on. We've changed the laws upside down. The landlord, the owner, 41% of all the rentals are owned by mom and pop landlords. Those people are counting on that income. When you have 3.7 million eviction filings in a year, just last year, then what you really have, if you shape that the other way, yes, I feel bad for the 3.7 million people that are having trouble paying their rent. We all do. At the same time, though, I also feel bad for each homeowner that had that property that is now missing at least $10,000, maybe $20,000. And we're not even talking about intentional damage. We're talking about just people that didn't pay their rent. In California, it takes me 4 months to get them out, if I do it correctly the whole way through. And if I do it wrong, start over.
Back to square one.
Back to the beginning.
And those professionals aren't free. After a break, a woman who says she sees nothing wrong with taking a piece of land that isn't being used, even if someone else owns it. In fact, she says she's already helped one couple take 3 to 5 acres from an LLC, and she's got 30 more people she's working with. Well, just wait till you hear what she has to say. We'll meet her next. Homeowners, when's the last time you checked on your home title? If your answer is never, then this is for you. Scammers are stealing titles and your equity is the target. Criminals forge your signature, and just like that, your home title can be transferred out of your name. That's why I partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code Phil at HometitleLock.com and you'll get a free title history report. Plus, you'll get a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title. Urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code Phil. We've seen and heard a lot about the physical, emotional, and financial damage squatting causes. Well, my next guest is a real estate agent who says she wants to see adverse possession become normalized in America. And it's your fault if someone steals your land.
Adverse possession is a legal process that starts with the intent of taking title and ends with the person having title of that property. You see multi-million-dollar projects and they're just abandoned. I believe that if we reclaim this abandoned land, it's kind of like having a foreman on your ranch. They're tending to it, they're putting the care into it. I'm working with another client and they're located in New Mexico, and they are trying to occupy a property. It's around 300 or 500 acres. It's something that's so large that you wouldn't even notice what 2 acres is compared to how many acres are on there. Adverse possession is a law that's left over from both Spanish and English colonization. It is how they took the land from the native people, and it's a process we can use to take that land back.
Well, adverse possession is a colloquial term for squatters' rights, some people would say, but it's much more involved than what we've been talking about here. Christine says she doesn't think adverse possession is immoral. People with no housing dying from elements is immoral. So you're an advocate of adverse possession.
I am, yes.
But this is different than squatting.
Squatting is the process to adverse possession, but it is very different, and my intentions are not to help people who have destroyed property. My intentions are to prevent this. I don't want a situation where you're having to go to defend your own property because the police don't have enough power, and you're in a position where someone is putting you in a chokehold. That's horrible. That's terrible.
Well, to adversely possess a property, it has to be abandoned, and there has to be no one there to challenge your occupation.
They can be challenged. So hostile possession means hostile to the owner. That means that somebody else owns it. It can come to the point where it's literally physically hostile, where you are going up against somebody else who's come to defend their property. I do not want that. I want to mitigate harm. I don't want to put people in positions where they have to have an altercation, possibly.
Well, if somebody shows up and says, "This is my property," and you don't have the right to be here, you can't adversely possess that property. How would you progress with your adverse possession?
Well, that's why it's not a sure thing. It is a very long, complicated. It's well, and would it surprise you to know that that's exactly how the law was intended? That's exactly how the U.S. government is designed. That's how everyone here has their land. They took it through adverse possession. So that's how the law is designed.
You said if I've got 100 acres or 1,000 acres and somebody goes and gets in the corner of it and adversely possesses 5 acres of it, I'm not going to miss it. I got 1,000 acres anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah. Can you tell me, if you're looking at 1,000 acres, could you tell me what 5 acres was?
Hell yeah.
But I don't know that, I don't necessarily know that that's fair, because if he did inherit, let's just say inherited the 5,000 acres, whatever it was, I mean, that's his, it came from his generational passed down.
How did he inherit it?
Doesn't matter how I got it. It doesn't matter how I got it. If it's mine, it's mine.
We're not in 1776.
No,
we're in 2024.
Yes. The law, though, the law still exists in 2024.
Right.
So I'm not the one making the law.
No,
Let me
but
ask you a
there still has
question.
to be an injured party based on what you're saying. I have a lot of investor friends who have used adverse possession to gain possession of a property, but they've done it when they can't find certain heirs. So let's just say out of 100% of the title to the property, they were able to secure 75 or 85% of the heirs. We can't find, let's just say, one person. So we hold their money. We buy this 75% from that one set of family members, and then we go hunt down the last person. So there is no injured party. In a lot of the situations that I hear about in this case, is that there's an injured party somewhere, just because he can't identify 5 of his 1,000 acres.
Do you think that a corporation that makes over $1 billion a year is injured by someone taking 5 acres of land?
Somebody is.
Absolutely.
Somebody is, absolutely.
They are?
Do you know what a
Yeah.
corporation is? A corporation is owned by individual investors. So you've heard of the stock market. They buy shares. That's what makes up the value of a corporation. So when you take that 5 acres, you're taking somebody's 1 share.
That's right.
So you're looking at corporations wrong. And my question for you would be, is the license that you have as a real estate agent, when you're advocating for adverse possession, are you representing the client that's doing the adverse possession?
My job is to advocate the law.
No. Your job is to represent an individual client. You have a fiduciary duty for that individual client. You said that you've helped some people do this. Did you do so in the capacity as a real estate agent?
There's no way for me to help somebody as a client when they're doing adverse possession. What I do is I share with them what the laws are and the proper authorities that they should be paying taxes to.
Do you have a car that's not used 24 hours a day?
I do.
And so if we play out your scenario, then theoretically anyone on the street should be able to boost your car and drive it because that car is just sitting around unused.
I don't have a $1 billion net worth. So if I start
Is a
making
billion where you draw the line?
Yeah, me personally.
So you think it's okay to take Dr. Phil's because he's the only billionaire in this?
You have $1 billion, Dr. Phil.
So we're all going to his house tonight?
Dr. Phil, do you have $1 billion?
Not a chance. I'm just a young, struggling psychologist.
There you go.
I never met anyone with $1 billion before.
You still haven't.